Welcome back to Ireland AM, from navigating difficult conversations with friends to dealing with noisy neighbours.
Hey, we've got some great dilemmas in from you, so thank you so much for sending in your questions. For our dilemma, Dr. Katriona O'Sullivan, we're going to get straight into it. Katriona, thank you so much again, because your advice is very well sought after. A close friend is going through fertility issues, but she never wants to talk about it. I want to be there for her and offer support, but I'm worried about pushing her into a conversation she's not ready to have. How can I let her know I care without overstepping the mark?
I think sometimes we think friendship is about not having difficult conversations, like we want to keep everything always nice. I definitely think in the situation with talking about infertility, it's quite common. 1 in 6 couples experience it. It's not just a female issue as well. It's really important to say that it's a man issue too. So whether you're a woman or a man, I think opening conversations for your friends around these things are really important. So my advice around this would be, you're not pushing somebody by just saying to them, I know you're going through this and I'm here for all of the conversations. So I would be regularly bringing the conversation to her and saying, if you need to talk about this, I'm here. That might feel uncomfortable, especially if you know she's a bit resistant, but she might be resistant because she's just so struggling with it, or she might see that you have children, or that she might think that you're not struggling in that area. So for me as a friend, my advice would be, as a woman, as a friend, as someone who has friends who are going through this, I'm the one who brings the thing to the table. I'm like, how are you getting on with that? I know it's difficult, but how are you getting on with it? And do you want to talk about it?
And if that person wants to shut it down, you have to respect their boundaries as to what, if they're like, I don't want to go there.
Obviously.
I think you bring up a really interesting discussion point as to whether, would you ever talk to your male friends about fertility? Because as you say, it affects everyone.
Not with fertility per se, but I do have a few friends who are going through a few issues, and I have brought it up with them, and they get cranky at me and put it back on me, like, what, you know. So some people don't want to talk about it, and they get upset even when you bring up. So it is.
I think that's okay. I think, but we have to also. Wouldn't it be worse if you heard afterwards that they were going through this on their own and they felt like they couldn't talk about it? They felt like they had nobody to share it with. It'd be worse to hear that afterwards than to actually be the person who maybe had a little bit of difficulty, friction in the moment. I have a friend who's going through it. A couple of, like, it's very common now because women are delaying having children. So when they hit their 30s, it takes longer to have a baby. And so the reality is, the first thing I do when I see her, I haven't seen her in a while, is just like, OK, let me just say, I'm just going to ask you, how is it going? I'm going to push, you know, and she's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Or sometimes she'll just cry and say, but I'm glad as a friend that I'm the friend that brings that to the table and might feel uncomfortable. And if they push back on it, that's absolutely fine. But I think it's better to have tried to be there and have the conversation than not. The other thing I think is about having them conversations in groups, like making it a bit more normal to talk about these things when you're with your friends in general, about how we judge, what we think about pregnancy, about motherhood, about fatherhood, who's having babies. So might feel a bit easier for that friend to actually say, I'm really struggling with this thing. You know, 35%...
Or they might hear from somebody else who's then all of a sudden it opens. Yeah, absolutely.
But in terms of the man issue, 35% of the reasons for infertility are for the male, 35% are the women, 10% is unknown. So it is important that men are allowed to talk about these things as well. I think it's a real essential thing to be considering them in them conversations, not just us women.
100% it is. It's for everybody. So we hope that has helped. We're going to move on to another one now. I moved away from home over a decade ago, and I've grown into a completely different person. I've gained confidence, matured, and built a life I'm proud of. But every time I visit my family, I feel like they're still treating me as the immature person I was when I left. How do I help them see who I am without causing tension? Katriona.
My initial reaction was, I was a bit judgy. I was like, oh, I'm so grown up now. And then I was like, oh my God, stop, Katriona. Because I actually, as a mother, like, this challenged me as a mother myself, because I have children who are men, and like, there's still a part of me when they come back, I'm like, are you doing this? Where is that? Like, but like, from psychology point, forget about my family issues.
But we all have that,
we
right?
All
Isn't that a thing that parents are kind of like, this is where you came in the family and this is how I treat you?
But also sometimes the child is in that dynamic as well. As an adult, they go home, they want to be fed, they want their washing done, John. They want their, you know, occasionally. But the reality is, family dynamic, like, we form a dynamic as a family where everybody takes a role, and it's for cohesion. So you might have the responsible older girl. You might have the scapegoat, the immature one at the end of the day. And that dynamic is, most of the time it's healthy and people take on roles. But then as people age, it's sometimes hard for your dynamic to change. What it requires is everybody to change in the dynamic, not just you to grow up and decide I'm no longer part of that. And your family also have to grow. And the best way for that to happen is to set healthy boundaries, firstly. So it's not to go in and go, I'm a grown-up now, I'm mature, because that actually feeds the immature ideas. So it's about saying, if something comes up, and say, I really understand why you feel that way. I actually have grown a lot since then, and I'd appreciate if you noticed that. So having a boundary. But the other thing is just time. You've been away, you're just back. Give it time, keep being mature, keep showing them how great you are, and eventually they'll recognise that you're mature if there's a healthy dynamic, and they'll let you be that person.
Yeah. I don't think you're alone. Everyone goes back, like, when I go home to this stage, she'll be like, don't forget to close the fridge. I know to close the fridge.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I actually think this is with the siblings. This is an issue as well.
That you get into...
That if you're the younger sibling, for instance, and you've always been treated like that. So the parents might be okay to open it up, but actually the older brother or whatever still treats them.
Oh, it's a family dynamic issue at the end of the day. But I mean, if you go in roaring and shouting, you're just confirming their view. Like in my house, I'm the difficult. In my family, I'm mouth. I'm the difficult, mouthy one.
You are not.
And I am. And, like, when they say things to me now about that role, I have to really not feed the stereotype that they have of me and not be the mouth. Okay. So, like, but sometimes I don't, and then I reaffirm it, and we're back to the beginning again.
Well, that's showing a bit of maturity, isn't it? This is exactly what they're talking about.
Let them see you grow and let them change.
This is a really interesting one. I was cheated on in a previous relationship, but I'm now dating someone new who has given me a reason who has given me no reason not to trust him. But I constantly worry that he's being unfaithful. I know a lot of this fear comes from my past, but it's starting to affect the relationship. How do I talk to him about my insecurities without making him feel accused of something he hasn't done? Well,
it was actually like my past self sent this message in. Okay. So, like, so it was funny yesterday. I was talking to my friend about this, and she was saying, and I was saying, you only really know yourself sometimes when you get into a relationship. You can be this, I'm an independent woman, I'm safe, I'm secure, and then all of a sudden you've got the vulnerability of being with somebody else, and then all your stuff comes to the surface. I would say the first thing is, when you can talk to him about this, but own it. It's your fear, it's your doubt. I am really afraid. I feel really afraid about trusting you. And it's affecting me. Could you reassure me a little bit that I've nothing to worry about? That's what I do with Dave. I actually say it to Dave. I say, I'm really afraid today. You didn't answer your phone, or I didn't know where you were, or something happened and it really triggered my stuff. Could you reassure me a little bit? Would you mind? And I've always been met with oh God, of course, I love you, I think you're amazing. The other thing is this, insecurity. I think at the root of insecurity is this fear that you're not going to be okay if something bad happens, that you haven't got the capability to deal with something bad. And that generally comes from having been hurt in the past, low self-esteem, doubt in yourself. So I'd say to this woman, you need to go work on building yourself up, positive affirmations, I am good enough, doing things that show how strong you are, amazing you are, feeding your own self-esteem away from the relationship so that you kind of know, look, if he goes, I'm going to be fine. And the truth is, like, when you're with them for a longer period of time, after about 5 years or so, you're just like, anyway, look, if someone's going to take them, grand.
It's important to have this conversation, though.
It is.
Because as opposed to being over the top texting them.
Well, I would have been like that.
And then that would push them away, you know, because so you have to explain where this vulnerability is coming from.
Saying this happened to me before.
In my own relationship, it got to the point where he said, if you don't change this, I'm gone.
Done.
That was a deal breaker for us. And so what happened, we agreed that I would speak to him and own my feelings and work on it myself separately, and I did.
Don't be afraid, you have to say it out loud what's happening to you, you poor thing. We hope that it's all going well and that the relationship is going well. We're moving on to something else that I think might be an issue around the lovely weather. I recently moved into a house. It was advertised as being in a quiet neighbourhood. At first the neighbours seemed just a little noisy, but now that the weather is getting nicer, spending most evenings in the garden, they're having barbecues and drinks. I wouldn't mind if it wrapped up around 9, but it's regularly going on until 1 a.m. Come on, with loud music conversations. As the new person on the the street. I don't want to be seen as a difficult neighbour, but I'm exhausted at my wits' end. Do I say something or just try to put up with it?
So my reaction to this was, what's the address so that we can all go around and party?
Have a crack, have the crack.
It's Murray's house.
Warren's the noisy neighbour.
So we've had this issue before.
Am I? No, I'm not.
We've had this issue before, okay, coming up around neighbours. Like, my motto around neighbours is do not fall out with your neighbours, no matter what. So the first thing is, the line in the message is it was advertised as a quiet neighbourhood. Kind of gives Karen vibes to me. Sorry to Karens. But it kind of gives the vibes that, like, you know, that she was lied to or something. At the end of the day, if you probably should have gone and had a mooch around first if you were assuming it was quiet.
Yeah, and why are you believing a listing? Like, let's be honest, every estate agent
But
is going to say...
If you have kids, for instance, I don't know if this person does, 1 o'clock is way too late.
Yeah.
Should be having music and conversations in the back garden.
Lads, we have a summer. We have a summer
sure,
for...
weekend too.
I know. We have summer for 2 weeks. We've summer for 2 weeks in Ireland. So what I would be doing is this. I definitely wouldn't be going around to the neighbours and knocking in. I'd be getting to know the neighbours. I'd be going around with a bottle of wine, introducing myself to a few people in the neighbours to get a sense of, is this normal? Does this happen all the time? Is this something that I'm going to have to actually deal with in a proper way?
Yeah.
So first, get to know everybody. Be the friendly neighbour and get to know them. Then I'd say get yourself some earmuffs, some earplugs for now, and an eye mask and cover it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And call the guards.
Well, I wouldn't be calling the guards,
Don't
to be honest.
Would you stop it?
Definitely.
You'd call
Too
the guards.
late,
You wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I definitely think if it's keeping up the kids, and obviously you guys are up really early for this job, it can be hard, but get some earplugs for now. It's the summer, like. So, like, you can't make
If it's midweek, it's a bit much. But 1 o'clock on a Saturday night?
You go to the bar.
Yeah, but
the bar is then back at your house. It closes at 12.
No.
You got to come back to your house.
Oh, this is really... I love
Ask
this.
them to come back in.
No,
So for me, I would say first you need to get a sense...
I invite the neighbours round.
Get a sense
with
of
their kids.
Yeah, literally.
Get a sense of whether this is actually a long-term issue. It's just a summer issue. If it's just a summer issue, it's not going to go on much longer. Suck it up, earplugs in, and get yourself some sleep. If it isn't, then you need to get to know the community and try to deal with it as a community, not as an individual person. I wouldn't want to be the Karen in the neighbourhood. We have one in our WhatsApp group, like some people who complain about certain things, and like they're the talk of the community, like, and you just don't want that.
But you don't want to be taking the mickey either, though.
No, you don't. But maybe that person has been living that estate and it's been fine. Maybe the whole neighbourhood thinks, like, that's fine, there's no issue at the end of the day. So I think it's about getting to know people first and talking to them.
Yeah.
And not living next to Tommy if you're really loud.
Listen, you'll know about it.
Headphones, if you listen to a podcast or books, headphones with ear things in it.
The kids.
Sorry, children.
Bar.
If the message had been about the kids being woken up, it might have been a different story.
But this is just about... They're going mad inside because they're like, look at them. It's like we're in therapy.
We are
the two of us are very different
sides. So you've got a tough day ahead of you if you're a therapy.
We're going to meet her at 10 o'clock. We're going to have a whole hour-long session with Katriona O'Sullivan. We are always here. We love when you send these in. It's you can just go irelandam@virginmedia.ie and just say Dilemma Doctor. It's always anonymous, and we really do. I think that these are great. I hope people get something from it because we love having Katriona.
We do anyway. We do.
I'm just about to say we do enjoy it. Katriona O'Sullivan, as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.